During Thanksgiving dinner, my father-in-law suggested that I should add their names to the deed of my house for everyone's safety. However, it was a home I bought years before even meeting their son using only my savings. Lately, they had been subtly urging me to co-own the property with them. Initially surprised by this suggestion, what followed left everyone stunned. As Natasha, my mother-in-law, stated, "It's just common sense." She was hinting at potential future dangers and the risk of leaving Brandon without any inheritance. When I looked over at my husband, Brandon, he appeared engrossed in his mashed potatoes, avoiding eye contact with all. We found ourselves in their luxuriously adorned dining room, graced with a glittering crystal chandelier and high-end Italian furniture. The family assembled included Ashley, Kevin, and Kevin's expectant spouse, all nodding as if Diane's idea was eminently sensible. "In case of an unfortunate incident or health issue," Diane suggested softly, dabbing her lips with a monogrammed napkin. "Life is unpredictable, so it's only fair that Brandon is insured since neither he nor you have children yet." "Everyone should be safeguarded," I countered cautiously. "We are family now," Diane emphasized. Family was a term Diane had been wielding frequently ever since Brandon and I got married 8 months prior. The house, it turned out, belonged to Natasha. Brandon finally spoke up gently, raising his head. "That's only natural. She purchased it herself." However, Robert interjected before the discussion could be concluded. Robert stated confidently, "Matters have changed." He suggested, "Shared and secured are how marital assets should be handled." Pausing for a moment, I asked, "Secured from what specifically?" Ashley leaned towards us with a voice that seemed to express worry but felt insincere. "We're merely focusing on Brandon's future," she said. "Your house is beautiful and potentially valued at around $400,000, maybe more. If something unfortunate were to happen to you and Brandon isn't listed on the deed, he could lose it all." "If he's in my will," I countered calmly, "he won't lose anything." Robert shook his head. "Wills can be contested in court," he said. "Property deeds are far stronger. This is just smart planning, smart planning." That phrase has been repeated for months now, ever since they discovered that you own your Portland Craftsman house outright, with no mortgage or cossigners, only 10 years of saving every spare dollar. As a software engineer, I purchased that house 5 years prior to my acquaintance with Brandon V. before discovering his endearing smile and soft-spoken demeanor, before recognizing his family might view me more as an opportunity than a person. "I'll consider it," I replied. It was the same response I had been using for months. "There's nothing to ponder," Diane interjected swiftly. "You can easily list Brandon and us as secondary holders on the deed. It's just a precaution." "That's all," Robert added. I furrowed my brow slightly. "Why would I include you?" The room fell silent at my question, with Robert's jaw stiffening, Kevin pausing mid-bite, and even Brandon shifting uneasily in his seat. "Because," Diane explained slowly as if talking to a child, "we are Brandon's parents. If something were to happen to both of you, someone would require authority over the estate." She tilted her head subtly, suggesting management of it. "Do you have brothers or sisters, any parents?" I queried. "My parents perished when I was 19, I replied. "Correct," Diane confirmed swiftly. It seemed that fact supported her argument. "In case something unfortunate happens, who would manage everything? Perhaps a distant relative, the state, where your family now reside?" I inquired, trying to clarify. "You're suggesting that I should list your names on the title of my house, a property I purchased with my own earnings, as a precaution if both Brandon and I were to pass away simultaneously," Robert exhaled exasperatedly. "It's not about death, it's about prudent asset protection," he stated. I nodded comprehensively. "But what transpires if Brandon and I separate?" The room fell silent instantly. Brandon glanced up abruptly. "Natasha, I'm merely posing a legal question," I clarified. "Suppose Brandon and I were to divorce, and your names were already on my title deed, then what would occur?" Ashley's tone sharpened immediately. "Why introduce such a matter at this time? Don't you have faith in our brother, Brandon?" I confirmed my trust in him. "I'm discussing the potential legal ramifications of including your names on property that I own." Kevin grumbled softly. "What's so offensive?" I inquired evenly, despite my quickening pulse, is being confronted during Thanksgiving dinner and being pressured into sharing co-ownership of my residence. Diane stated, though her eyes grew icy, "No one is asking you to relinquish anything. They're just urging responsibility, protection for our son. Unless there's something you're concealing there." It was a carefully disguised accusation masked as concern. Eventually, Brandon spoke up again. "Mom, Dad, let's move on from this," he said. "It's Natasha's house. She can do as she pleases with it." Robert shook his head. "You're too lenient with her," he said. "Marriage is a partnership. She should want to protect you." It's not just about her. I safeguard him, I responded. I care for him. But that doesn't necessitate branding our names on your possessions, Diane subtly hinted, her smile politely frosty. Indeed, she murmured, that seems to clearly demonstrate our positions. The remainder of the dinner grew uncomfortably tense. All present maintained polite discourse, yet each utterance carried a veiled aggression. Unbeknownst to them at that moment, I possessed knowledge about property records that was going to astound every individual seated at that table. The following morning, I contacted my real estate agent, Patricia Martinez. I inquired her to scrutinize the Fosters' details. 3 hours later, she phoned back. Natasha, it would be advisable for you to take a seat. Robert and Diane Foster declared bankruptcy 2 years ago. Their current residence is underwater. Robert managed a business that disintegrated, leaving them with approximately $300,000 in debt. Ashley is at risk of losing her home. Kevin owes court judgments totaling $50,000 in unpaid debts. The family is overwhelmed by debt, and their house serves as their only viable asset. I informed Brandon that we needed a family meeting which was scheduled for Saturday afternoon at my place. The attendees included Robert, Diane, Ashley, Kevin, Brandon, Patricia, and myself. They believed I had given in. Even Diane brought champagne. Patricia initiated the discussion by presenting official property records, stating Natasha is the sole owner. She continued, by adding names to a deed, anyone can compel a sale or use the property as collateral for loans. Creditors can also place liens on the house. The room fell silent as Patricia looked at Robert. Is there any unpaid debt or court judgment that could jeopardize this property? Asked Patricia, causing Robert's face to flush. That's private, he retorted. However, Patricia remained unfazed and displayed the bankruptcy records, foreclosures, and unpaid debts. Brandon stared at his kin, his complexion drained. Is this accurate? Did you attempt to employ my wife's residence as a barrier against your debt collectors? Diane rose up, distraught. We are relatives. Brandon followed suit. Relatives don't swindle one another, relatives don't deceive. One after the other, they departed. Brandon expressed remorse, recognizing he had been deceived as well. We signed a post-marital agreement guaranteeing the house remains mine. 3 months subsequent, they forwarded a letter requesting an apology from me. I discarded it. Ownership transcends property, it encompasses boundaries. My home still bears my name, and each time I cross its threshold, I am certain I made the appropriate decision to refuse.